Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving right into the absolutely massive, incredibly dramatic 2026 UEFA Champions League final between Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal. If you've been following the tournament, you already know what was on the line, but today we're peeling back the layers to look at the actual mechanics behind this monumental victory.
So to really grasp this clash, we gotta ask ourselves, how on earth did PSG actually conquer the summit of Europe against such a formidable Arsenal side? What were the hidden factors that truly tipped the scales?
All right, here's how we're going to break this all down today. We'll start with the build-up in Budapest, dig into the clash of tactics and numbers, relive the drama of the match itself, and finally, join the sprawling celebrations back in Paris.
Okay, Section 1, the Champions Final in Budapest, setting the stage.
Picture this, it's May 30th, 2026, at the gorgeous Puskás Arena in Budapest, and the stakes? Literally astronomical. You've got Paris Saint-Germain chasing an unprecedented French double, just riding this massive wave of momentum. And on the flip side, we have Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. They just snagged their first Premier League title in 22 years, and they are hungry, desperate, to claim their maiden continental trophy. The historical weight on both of these clubs was just immense.
Moving right along to Section 2, the clash of tactics and numbers, and that intense pre-match gridlock.
Now on paper, this was your absolute classic, unstoppable force meets immovable object scenario. Arsenal was basically a brick wall. They'd only conceded 6 goals the entire tournament, with David Raya holding a record-tying 9 clean sheets. That's just wild. But then you look at PSG, an absolute attacking juggernaut, 44 goals scored. They were literally just one single goal shy of tying Barcelona's all-time historical record from back in the 99-2000 season.
So, leading up to kickoff, the analysts had their eyes glued to 5 crucial tactical keys. We're talking Arsenal's massive set-piece danger, how anyone manages PSG's lethal left flank with Khvicha Kvaratskhelia and Nuno Mendes, the severe issue of player fatigue, the battle of the clean sheets, and, of course, Luis Enrique's famous tactical surprises. You know Enrique? He is a master tactician. He loves throwing a curveball, just like he did when he played it super conservatively against Bayern Munich in the semifinals.
Let's actually zero in on that first point for a second. 40%. That is a staggering number. 40% of Arsenal's domestic goals came purely from set pieces under their coach Nicolas Javer. That made towering guys like Gabriel Magalhaes an absolute nightmare for PSG's keeper, Matvei Safonov. PSG knew, for sure, they could not afford to hand out cheap corners or free kicks anywhere near the box.
But Arsenal had a gigantic elephant in the room: 4,000. That's the number of minutes core players like Declan Rice, William Saliba, and David Raya had logged over the season. That physical toll from winning their intense domestic league, it's astronomical. Arteta stuck by his core guys and refused to use exhaustion as an excuse, but human limits are very real in professional sports. And that creates a huge contrast. While Arsenal's core was literally running on fumes, Luis Enrique had this incredible luxury of heavily rotating a squad because they locked up the French league so early. Get this, only 3 PSG players, Pacho, Vitinha, and Zaire Emery, had even crossed the 3,000-minute mark. Despite PSG's crazy Club World Cup run, the sheer disparity in energy was basically a ticking time bomb waiting to go off.
Which brings us to Section 3, the moment of decision and drama, the ultimate climax.
So all of this tension, all of that tactical planning, it explodes onto the pitch. And right away, the immovable object and the unstoppable force just kind of canceled each other out. We got a wildly tense, nail-biting 1-1 draw in regular time. And even as the sheer exhaustion really started setting in, they stayed completely gridlocked through 120 grueling minutes of football. They were pushing themselves to the absolute physical and mental brink.
And then, the tension finally breaks in the most heart-stopping way possible. A penalty shootout. 4-3, Paris Saint-Germain edges it out, claiming the ultimate prize and completely breaking English hearts in Budapest. Remember those fresh legs and that tactical discipline we talked about earlier? Well, it paid off right when it mattered most, at the penalty spot.
And that takes us to our final section, number 4. Paris celebrates the title, the morning after.
Man, that dramatic release of tension on the pitch just set off an absolute powder keg of joy back in France the very next day. To give you an idea of the sheer scale here, Authorities were dealing with an estimated 85,000 to 90,000 fans flooding the Champ de Mars, right under the Eiffel Tower. Just a massive, completely free public party to honor their champions.
The logistics of this party were honestly incredible. At 2 p.m., the team arrives and parades down this massive 450-meter-long podium. I mean, they had to make sure that giant crowd actually got a glimpse, right? Then came the magical moment, presenting the Champions League trophy to this absolute sea of people. And finally, around 7:30 p.m., the whole thing shifted over to an exclusive evening gala at their home stadium, the Parc des Princes. The entire city essentially hit pause to celebrate them.
But here's why this matters so much. This wasn't just a one-off victory. This meticulously planned celebration marked a historic back-to-back European triumph for Paris. Winning it in 2026 right after taking the crown in 2025, it absolutely solidifies an era of pure dominance. It is a huge testament to a brilliantly constructed squad and, frankly, to a coach who knows exactly how to navigate the toughest tournament in the world.
Which leaves us with one incredibly fascinating question to ponder as those celebrations echo through the Parisian streets. With a historic double secured and a true master tactician calling the shots, who in Europe can possibly stop Luis Enrique's Paris Saint-Germain next season? That's the real takeaway from today's explainer. We might literally be watching the dawn of an untouchable European dynasty. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep that question in mind as we gear up for next year's tournament.